like it was yesterday, man. Beautiful day. And we were in recruiting station, and one of my boys said his wife called him, said that the airplane had hit one of the Twin Towers. But the truth, it was like, nobody thought it was like in a commercial airplane. Everybody thought it was like a Cessna, something small, So going back before I even started boxing, my father was involved in professional wrestling. So Rivera said the same thing. So both of us deployed. He deployed with a 2nd Airborne Division. I deployed on and unfortunately, Riverita got killed that November. So I think the way I learned from anybody is that the ability to learn from those that are great in what they do and those that are not that great. Some people, when they got to the senior level, they stop listening to people. The stigma behind mental health, armed forces, and not talking about it, it do more harm than anything else. I cannot tarnish, brother, the legacy of my name.
Hey, thank you for receiving me at your home, and I really appreciate it.
Brother, like I said, I've been waiting for this. First of all, best of luck and congratulations on what you're doing, man. Like I told you before, we need this because not only, I know you for a long time, and I think taking a venture like this takes a lot. And I think you're hitting the right point, and I'm pretty sure you're just gonna eventually you're gonna be happening, man. So, but again, welcome to my home, and thank you for the invite, brother.
All right, welcome, man. So, let's start it from the get-go.
Get-go.
I know you're a big Yankees fan.
100%, brother. 100%. If you say something different, we're gonna end this podcast right now.
Yeah, we're gonna just to throw that out there. It's a big. So you were born in Puerto Rico or you were born in Brooklyn?
No, I was born in Brooklyn. Man.
You were born in Brooklyn. Did you move ever to Puerto Rico or you stayed?
No, so at the age of 10 years old, we moved to Puerto Rico.
Oh, so you were almost a teen when you moved?
Yeah, so all my family, my mom and dad moved to New York at the late 50s. Mm-hmm. And so I got 2 brothers and a sister. Everyone was born in New York. And then 79, 80, that's when we moved to Puerto Rico.
You're right.
But pretty much, my infancia, and that was from 1970 to 1980, I was in New York.
In New York.
Okay. Then we moved to Puerto Rico.
So when you enlisted in the military, you were in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, I went to Puerto Rico. So I went to Puerto Rico, continued school there. I used to go back and forth, sometime go to New York. Pretty much at that time, most of la familia completa, most of them stayed in New York, So back and forth, and then, when I graduated from high school in 1988, that's why I joined.
You joined. So you joined. What was your MOS when you
13
joined?
Bravo.
13 Bravo. So you stayed 13 Bravo throughout your whole career?
I changed to 13 Mike in 1997.
1997.
Yeah, because I'm not sure you remember or what you were saying already. So there was a lack of promotion in 13 Bravo. Too many 13 Bravos.
Oh, I got too many.
And then there was nobody getting promoted. So then Big Army say, we got an opportunity. 13 Mike, they was expanding, more brigades was opening up, and they needed people to change over. So I jumped in the bandwagon, changed over 13 Mike, and then, got promoted and retired. Oh, of course, after you make it, you 13 Zulu. But I had the benefit of being in 2 sides of the world, artillery cannon and artillery launchers.
So, yeah, right. Yeah. These are 2 different board games, though. One, from Bravo to 13 Mike is...
Bravo is more physical, is more demanding. MLR is more technical. A lot of more things can go wrong, equipment-wise or whatever. There's more excitement in 13 Bravo, I would say. I hate, people may get offended by that, but 13 Mike is an easy job, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
13 Bravo is way harder. And more exciting. Way more exciting.
One more question regarding the Army stuff. Do you stay mostly in the United States, or you got Germany station?
Been stationed in Germany. We been stationed in Korea.
What year you went Korea?
97, 98.
Damn, I got there to Korea in 2000.
2000,
so, yeah, I missed it for it. Yeah.
2000. I know you were recruited. 2000, I went to recruiting.
Oh, you went to recruiting 2000. What town?
New York.
Oh, you went to New York.
Brooklyn, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I did recruiting in 2007.
Yeah, no, I did 2000. In fact, I was in New York when 9/11 happened. That's how crazy it is.
Tell me some about it. Tell me.
Yeah. So like it was yesterday, man. Beautiful day. And we were in recruiting station, and one of my boys said his wife called him, said that an airplane had hit one of the Twin Towers. But the truth, it was like, nobody thought it was like in a commercial airplane. Everybody thought it was like a Cessna, something small, So not a big deal. So we had a TV in the back of the recruiting station, where the computer was, where the copy machine was. And so by that time, nothing big deal, and nothing was going on. So one of my friends said, well, let's see what's up in the news. By the time we put it up, that's when the second airplane hit, And then we started thinking about like, hey man, this is some serious business, you know what I'm saying? So if you know anything about Brooklyn, so our recruiting station was in Flatbush, and Flatbush hits Atlantic Avenue, and the Atlantic Avenue hits the Brooklyn Bridge, And then you got, if you look at the Brooklyn Bridge, all to the left side is, with Lower Manhattan is. So we got out and started looking, as you see the public smoke and everything, and that is when the towers went down. Of course, time happened, and then that's when hundreds of thousands of people started coming from Manhattan to New York. And so we have people coming towards recruiting station full of that white dust or whatnot. And at that time, I knew, hey, something here this is something different, something different. And recruiting, because it's recruiting, right? We calling to find out, hey man, what's the deal, man? Guidance, And they say, stay out there and do your job as a recruiter, man. You know what I'm saying? And keep on going. So it was nothing looking back of how big this event was, right, in their eyes. They kept their mind focused on recruiting. But yeah, man, that's happening, brother. So the truth is, me and my boy, Rodriguez, we used to, the day after, because they closed all the bridges to Manhattan, we used to drive our government car all the way to over the Brooklyn Bridge and bring cases of water to the guys. So, but yeah, man, I was there when that craziness happened, man.
It was crazy. It's kind of the same thing happened to me. I was in Fort Sill. We were taking classes at the Ed Center. Yeah. And we came out. We were on the break. During the break, the TV came out, and they got 2 TVs at the lobby, and I told my boys, like, man, we about to go. Yeah. We about to go somewhere. I got the same hunch, like, we about to go somewhere. Fast forward to where we met, fast forward to 2014. That's when I was Fort Hood, and you were command sergeant major at 220.
220, yeah.
220, and I was in the other one. So, 121. 121. I was in 121. So, tell me about the time you were in Fort Hood, because I know you were kind of like almost about to retire. You were kind of short to retire.
So, actually, so 220 was my first position as command sergeant major, and after that to 282, first guy.
Okay.
So I was recently graduated from the Sergeant Major's Academy when I came there. So my first Sergeant Major gig was a 220 FA, and then I got selected. Actually, going back, I got selected to go to 582 FA, but the problem was that unit got deactivated. Oh. So I was sent to Fort Hood, and they had no job for me. So something happened in 220 and then 41st Fires Brigade that led for Sergeant Major, first guy Sergeant Major, 3-Corps Sergeant Major, to tell me, yeah, you're gonna be taking, 220. We're gonna talk to HRC, you're gonna take 220. So I say, no problem, I'll take 220. So I got 220, and then 2 years later, I got selected as a primary to get to 282. So I was a sergeant major for 2 battalions back to back, for kind of rare nowadays.
Right, because they move you from station.
Yeah, big time.
You done
because,
and
I never was allowed to go to 220. That was something happened. I can't remember. Somebody got in trouble that led them to.
And you fell in.
And I fell in there and I took over. But remember, I knew 220 like the back of my hand, because that first thing in 220, brother, I was there in 1999. That's when I first got to 220. I was an E5.
Wow, that's what year I joined.
Yeah, that's when I got there, and so I pretty much grew up in 220. I grew up 220. But I went from 1999, then I went to recruiting, came back in 2003, and then stayed there until I made the sergeant major list, and then I came back to 220 as a sergeant major.
So you spent most of your time in 220.
Yes, most of my career I was in 220.
How many deployments do you have?
I had 3 deployments with them.
3 deployments with 220.
With 220.
Wow. I mean, out of That's crazy because I've seen people, being deployed with one unit and then
Yeah. But
get
see, back in the days, there was not a lot of movement, right? So
true.
it was like you was in that rotating cycle, right? So you come back, train, you ready to the next location. So I went 2003, 2004, 5 to 6, and 7 to 8.
Yeah,
Back to back to back. I went as a platoon sergeant, as an operating sergeant major, and as a first sergeant for the platoon.
that's crazy.
Back to back to back back.
Especially being in 220, like
Yeah,
all the
so,
times,
yeah.
like
So when it came to 220, brother, believe me, I was inducted into the 220 Hall of Fame when I was in E6 because we won the Top Gun competition like 3 years in a row, man. So we was kicking everybody's ass, and so if you happen to be in Fort Sill, you go 220, they have a plaque of Hall of Fame, and my name is the first one that was put there, which is pretty cool, man. So
does that plaque is still out there?
it should be, yeah, because I remember about I don't know about 5 to 6 years ago, somebody contacted me, and they wanted to have like the bio. So they still knew I was in at that time. So they want to have the bio of talking about the Hall of Famers or whatever. I'm not sure what they did with it. I know the plaque is there, but I don't know what else they done with it.
That's
Matter
cool.
of fact, I have the plaque here. I have the plaque here somewhere around here.
Yeah, this is you got a lot of history here in your office.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, man. Just
Yeah, I
seeing
got most of the stuff in the attic and the other stuff in the garage, brother, because it's
you don't have too much room here.
not too much room, man. And the truth is, the stuff in here is important to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my battalion, my first sign deployment, stuff like that. That is got a meaning to it. You know what I'm saying? Got a meaning to my first battalion, Sergeant Major 220.
Oh, for SCAF, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of significant stuff, man.
Just rolling back a little bit to your early years, how you got into boxing? Because I know you're a big proponent of contact sports, but how you got into
So
how you got into boxing?
as a kid, man, so going back before I even started boxing, my father was involved in professional wrestling.
Really?
Okay, when WWE used to be called WWWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. Okay, that's when Vince McMahon Sr. was in charge.
That's when.
So my father used to be working with them as a referee. He did broadcasting in Channel 47 in New York as a Spanish broadcaster. So I was involved as a kid, you know what I'm saying, in that ring mentality, fighting mentality, or not. In fact, it's always funny because as a kid I always knew wrestling is stage, right? It's a show. Most of the people don't know that, right? And my father used to voice over the film. So something's recorded. Remember, back in the day, it was no live, right? Everything was recorded and show on Saturdays. So my father would get the film, voice over the commentary, and then it was broadcast on Channel 47. So I've been around that type of there. When I get to Puerto Rico, you start. I was always playing basketball and baseball, volleyball. That was the thing. And then I met these two guys that was into boxing, man. So one thing led to another, and next thing you know, we in the gym, man. And next thing you know, I'm pretty decent at it, and fighting. And my father loves that fact about boxing, so I really got involved about 12 years old, man. 12 years old. So it started, and then slowly but surely, I joined the army. I kept on fighting, went to Germany, came here to Fort Hood. So that's where I got into it, man. So that's the beginning process. If I tell you right now, it's crazy. When I sound is wrestling, and then slowly got there to boxing. And I loved it, man. I just like the science behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's like and the older I got, I was not that good. Maybe my skills were good, but I was not dedicated. You know what I'm saying? In boxing, it's like I tell people, you do. It's all you, right? So in any other sport, a team sport, man, somebody's blocking for you, somebody's passing you the ball, you pass somebody else. In contact sport, man, it's only you, man. I don't care how good your corner is or what train you have. It's all you. So it takes a little more dedication than anything else. So I think I had this decent skills, man. I just was not dedicated, man, to the sport. You know what I'm saying? Not dedicated.
Do you ever figure out why you wasn't that dedicated?
I think it took a lot. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to be elite, man.
Right.
In the boxing world, right? And I box and spar against high level elite people, man. And then you start noticing that you're not that guy no more, right? So you're good, right? It's like you know how you're good in your neighborhood,
Right.
but then you get outside your neighborhood and you're not that good.
You're not that good. Yeah.
You know, you know how they say in Puerto Rico, you're the shit right there. Here, big in el barrio, right?
Yeah.
But then when you get to
To-
other side and
to
you
the
go
other
to a
side.
bigger city and the people a little more hungrier, right? Then you start noticing, hey man, these guys are for real, man. And so it just led me to believe, and I was just lazy, man. At the end of the day, I was lazy. I was lazy. I was not dedicated, and boxing takes a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? And then you see, I think you see what elite look like, and then you look at yourself, you're like, I'm not even close to this, man. You know what I'm saying? So I started while I was in Germany and here in Fort Hood. I started doing more helping the coach, right? Helping the coach and learning, being like a sponge to what they said. So I started loving the fact of like training and helping somebody improve. You know what I'm saying? Because then I found that niche, man, that I was able to teach people more better than I can ever do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's pretty much what we went to, man.
Yes, it is. I kind of understand what you're saying, because same thing like kind of happened to me. I started boxing early, but I was not like into it a lot. I was more into baseball though.
Right.
You know, baseball was like pretty decent as a shortstop. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know what, I like baseball, but you know, me as a kid, no internet back then.
Yeah.
Mid '80s, and I was just like just a kid. I just want to
Yeah.
be play around. I wasn't focused on
Right,
what I
right.
wanted to do. You know what I mean? But then I find out the military, like late '90s after the Gulf War. That's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when I see TV tanks rolling. I was like, man, I want to do that.
Do that.
Yeah. So then joined later, years later. But now fast forward a little bit to your deployments. When you first deployed, what year?
Well, my first deployment was to Gulf War, first of all. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the Gulf War. That was
You,
the first
you went to the
deployment.
Gulf?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I'm
Okay,
an
I
old-
didn't know that.
I'm an old
I thought
guy
you were
for that.
just Iraq forward.
No, man. So my first deployment was to Gulf War. I remember I joined in '88, man. So '89, by '89 I was in Germany, and then so we deployed from Germany to Desert Storm. So that was the first taste of combat. You know, as a young guy, as I'm touching Bravo, 155 SP. So that was the first deployment that I got under my belt.
You did a whole year or
No,
just a
man,
few
that
months?
that was almost like 7 months from deployment to come back.
Yeah, it didn't last long.
No, it was more. Hell, we spent more time before and after that we did combat. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to Saudi Arabia, and we staged there and got ready, and then we went over the burn, and then the war ended like in 3 or 4 days, whatever the case may be. So we stood in Kuwait there for a hot minute, getting everything straight and whatnot. And you have to understand my level of my lenses at that time. I'm an E4, right? So what I'm seeing is E4 stuff. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I strategic wise, I was not even
Yeah, your
aware of
scope
stuff.
wasn't that high. Yeah.
So we was there right after it, helping all the craziness in Kuwait, and then we actually rolled back into Saudi Arabia and then came back. So again, prior and post was more actually time than combat itself.
Then the second time when you
The
deployed,
second time was 2003.
2003. So
Yeah.
almost 10 years later.
Yeah, so by the time
12 years.
OIF1 started, you know what I'm saying, I was only the handful of people that you see with combat patches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Usually
yeah, you were.
If you think about it, unless from between '89 you have Panama, that was a big thing, and then you have the Gulf War, and then Kosovo. That's took there. I never went to Kosovo, but that was the only people. So combat, it was straight up people that went to the Gulf War. You know what I'm saying? So I went. In fact, after I left recruiting, I went to back to 220, and it's an interesting part of it. When I was recruiting, I know you know this, right? So I was recruiting, and one of my, I was decent in recruiting, brother. You know what I'm saying? If you know about recruiting, I made my ring in 24 months. You know what I'm saying? So I was rocking, man. We were rocking. We had a good recruiting station, and we were rocking. And I had this other friend of mine, Jose Rivera, and he was in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. And same thing, he was rocking and rolling. So then the time came, and the first sergeant called me and said, "Hey, man, change over, go 79 Romeo." And so Rivera told me, "Hey, Fuente, what we gonna do, man?" And he said, if they send me to Puerto Rico, right, he'll stay. And I knew they wasn't able to send you to Puerto Rico. They can transfer you. You're gonna stay in New York for a hot minute, and then they're gonna send you whatever the hell they can send.
Right.
If you can go to Puerto Rico, that's cool, but it was not guaranteed. So I remember the same thing they told us, like, nah, you guys change over. You know, you're gonna be going to here, go to, you know, the whatever the course I was saying, you come back here and we'll position you as station commander, whatnot, and then move on there. So I left recruiting in May, May 2003. So by the time I left, you know, everybody was deployed already. And so I remember the first sergeants telling me, man, you know, if you don't change over San Romeo, you're gonna go to combat or whatever.
Yeah, you're about to get deployed.
At that point, I said, I'll take combat before I stay in recruiting. So Rivera said the same thing. So both of us deployed. He deployed with 82nd Airborne Division. I deployed on that time was 41st Rifle Brigade. And unfortunately, Riverita got killed that November. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he got killed in November, man. Good friend of mine, good friend of the family. And that was some crazy because you look back and if he had changed and stayed at St. Romeo, he would still be alive. But yeah, he's that was the crazy day, brother. But, you know, you look back and I'm a firm believer, brother, that destiny is something you cannot control, right? Things are gonna happen. A leaf won't fall off the tree if something needs to happen afterwards or before, right? So, you know, I think it's hard to cope with a lot of situations, but then you have to sit back, man. It's like I learned. I take that back. I learned to understand, right? Because if you can second guess yourself all day and break your own will to live. You know what I'm saying? But looking back on Rivera, you know what I'm saying? And Rivera and I remember talking like yesterday, bro. He was like, man, there's no way I'm gonna stay here, man. And if they don't give me what I want, which was Puerto Rico at the time. And jokingly, you know, we just jokingly, he's like, I prefer to get shot at. You know what I'm saying? And you say that, right? But it just, as I say, I think in the Army, you know, I think it's known to have people have dark sense of humor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true though.
Yeah. And I remember that, man. He's like, yeah. So, you know, both of us, we left one right behind each other. And, you know, when I found out he passed because he was recruiting New York, and my medic, he put my medic in. And he the one called me and told me, hey, my Rivera got killed. And I'm trying, you know, so many Riveras, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right, who?
Rivera who? You know what I'm saying? And he said, my recruiter, Jose Rivera, bro. That's when I called my wife. And it was a hard time in the family dealing with it, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, as you know, right, most of people know or hear about people dying, passing away, or especially in combat, whatever. But when it's close to you, you know what I'm saying? People that you talk to, people that you share beer with and bullshit with, or whatever the case may be, and the family connectivity, you know what I'm saying? Kids, all that craziness. That is one thing to get real for real, man. So yeah, it was interesting, for lack of a better word, brother. Real interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that people don't get it. Our sense of humor, like you mentioned, it's dark.
Like, it's dark as shit.
Dark as night.
Yeah.
Then you deployed the second time. That's when that was the first deployment. That's when he passed.
Yeah.
And then you deployed 2 more times. What year were those?
2005, 2006, and then 2007, 2008.
So basically back to back.
Back to back, yeah. 1 year in between.
Wow.
Back to back, yeah.
You didn't have a chance to. Basically, you went like from
to
amber, and then recycle again.
It was rocking and rolling, man. Those times we deployed back to back, and
that's when a lot of IEDs were going on.
Well, that's when the EFP and all that crazy started.
Yeah.
So I went through the whole transition from, you know, the regular craziness that happened 2003, 2004 to 2005. I was in operations sergeant major, so. For the battalion, which is, you know, staying the TOC and maneuvering, we had units in Baghdad, and we had units in Ramadi. I mean, Fallujah, shooting into Ramadi. So we control all that aspect of that, and at that time they moved to BIAP, so I was in charge of all the security for BIAP, to include the freaking the embassy. So it was
busy.
It was busy, man. Time went flying over there, man, and. But I learned a lot, you know what I'm saying? I think that helped me in terms of, you know, development, right? To be a good first sergeant, to understand how things move, right? Because, if you never see that, you're just looking through a little, a small portion of what the Army, how battalions move. So when I got to battalion, it was operations and able to prepare the battalion to deployment and come bring them back. It was I learned a lot, man. So I think based on that, man, I became a decent first sergeant. You know what I'm saying? I'm on a second go around. So, but yeah, that was then 2007, 2008. Then I deployed again as a sergeant. First sergeant.
First. Now that my follow-up question for you is, where do you get your mentorship style? Because you look up to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and then you like adopt some things out of him and out of her, whatever. And where do you get it from, and how you develop your mentorship? Because you're pretty big on mentorship,
right? Yes.
And I want to know where you get your inspiration from.
I think that I learn from anyone, man. The best and the worst, right? And I think as early in my career, right, I think that I saw a lot of people that straight up were not good leaders, right? You know what I'm saying? Just straight up, in terms of take care of people and mentoring and help people develop, there was a little bit of that. But then you had some gems, man, some people that were super good, right? Carlos Diaz, he wasn't even my chief, but he was in my battery. And in fact, he was special operation and part of 7 group. I still stay in touch with him. So he was different, man. That guy was different, and I think he brought a lot of energy to it, right? He's, like you said earlier, he's straight up talker. He don't hold nothing back. The same way he'll tell you messed up, you know what I'm saying? The same way he'll tell you, hey man, you're doing a good job, and keep on going. So he was the first person, and then the rest, again, man, I had a good friend of mine, that he was an alcoholic, bro. You know what I'm saying? Alcoholic. But that character right there knew artillery, man. If you talk artillery-wise, that joker knew it, man. So I knew that when it came down to artillery talk and knowledge, regardless how drunk he was at work, man, when he was not drunk, he was good. So I think the way I learned from anybody is that the ability to learn from those that are great in what they do and those that are not that great. But at the same time, regardless of how bad a leader may be, there's something to learn. Either a way of doing business or know to avoid doing business this way. You know what I'm saying? So right. That's why I that. And to many people, I can mention Smoke Cross was Sergeant Nelson. He was my first time back in the days. Smoke Suarez. Listen, man, Smoke Suarez. He's one platoon sergeant, and I got great respect for that guy. In fact, if I tell you, Torres, man, sometimes I'm embarrassed that I made to sergeant major, and these people didn't. I'm gonna lie to you, brother, because these people way better than me. Hands over hand, brother, way better than me. So it was embarrassing to me to think that I made it, and these people that way better than me, right? So I hold a high level respect for these people, man. And I remember when I made sergeant major, I wanted to thank those that really helped me. You know what I'm saying? Smoke Suarez, he was my platoon sergeant here, and Carlos Diaz. And I called him. I called Diaz because I didn't see Diaz until later on, but I just say thank you, man. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, right? And sometimes, people don't realize how impacted you are in people's life. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Because you can be impact somebody's life and you never will know it, right? So he caught him by surprise, but then when I went back and reached back to Smoke Suarez, and he was a contracting on Fort Hood, and I was a 220 sergeant, as a matter of fact. So I contacted, I said, hey, Smoke, can you come by the office, man, whatever. And, I'm still, now you gotta think about it, bro. This guy's retired, you know what I'm saying? I'm here on sergeant major, and we work in my office, bro. I pop on my seat, man, and it's like I'm E6 again, and he's a Smoke, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it kind of bring you back where you...
Bring back, because this man, brother, was a mentor of just not knowledge in terms of Army, but personal, you know what I'm saying, and family and all that craziness. And I was like that little kid trying to show off, man, how thank you for being part of this, but I'm here because of you, you know what I'm saying? So, and he's like, sit down, man, whatever. I'm like, man, I cannot do this, man. It's different, man. I remember I gave him one of my coins, and he's like, he got all teared up and stuff. I say, bro, you cannot do that. You're gonna have to start crying this joint right here. We're gonna be both of us crying. But to me, it's one of the proudest moments, man, because he, the typical people don't understand how impact they have on people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he definitely was there. So I think again, I molded the way I did business around those individuals. And one thing, the common factor of all those individuals was that they are straight shooters, right? They are emotional, they care, you know what I'm saying? They motivated, and they found a way to do shit and have fun while doing it. You know what I'm saying? So if you ask me how I mold in my stuff, you know what I'm saying? I think that's what I did. I found the way to have that mentality, man, knowing that if I can motivate people to do things even when they don't want to do it, right, and inspire them to do better, right, or do that extra, whatever it is that is, you know, those people see reality on you, right? Because the position can be respected, right? You're gonna respect the first sergeant major or whatever, but do they respect you as a person, as a leader, right? Not by the position. And that was my gaining, man. You know, that was the gaining factor of I guess, you know, my success overall, is because I knew that if I treat these people right, man, these people will move mountains for me. And it happened, brother, and it happened. So again, that's the way I molded the way I did business as a leader in the Army, man.
Yeah, I mean, it is I would say a thin gap when you try to mentor somebody and be a leader, and also to not try to like him, but try to respect you on the personal level.
Absolutely.
And it's very, very hard to do. People don't get it, and some people, you know, just go overboard, be like, hey, I'm just over you, and this is it.
Yeah.
Or some people are like too humble, and they go under. Like I would say, they go under, and they will like you, right, to like him as a person, than the rank.
Yeah.
But be right there in the middle.
No, it's hard
To
man.
be fair and impartial, and be tactful, and also be understanding. It is hard to do.
No, and I tell you right now is, and I guess if you are, like you say, I'm gonna go back to, you keep on saying, man, if you are a straight shooter, right, and everybody knows what comes out of your mouth is always gonna be what is in your heart and what you feel and how you do business, right? There's never people are gonna have like question trying to figure you out. They know that's the way you are, and you come in straight, right? So, you know, if I tell you right now that, you know, if I look back, and the same way I think a lot of people consider me as mentors, a lot of people don't like me, right? Because, you know, I was a straight shooter, you know, and I'll tell you straight up, like, hey, listen, you're not good, man. I mean, I don't know what they're telling you or whatever. You are not good, and you're not good. Now, what I learned was that every time I gave that type of input to people, I gave them the input to tell you how to get better, right? Because it's easy to tell you, hey, you're not good, and leave it at that, compared to saying, man, you're not good, and I tell you, pretty much crush some people and then build them up type of mentality.
Right.
But the way I look the Army, right, and I think the way you lead, and this is my personal opinion, right, when you talk about leading in the civilian world in a company where, you know, maybe it's an interest in making financial interest or whatever, of sales or whatever the case may be, compared to the military, we talk about lives, right, and going to combat and coming back and surviving, and each individual having a piece of the pie in order to make it happen. Your approach has to be different, right? Because losing in a business, or having a bad month selling, is not the same as having a bad day in combat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I use that, and I'll tell people in a heartbeat, you know what I'm saying? Nah, you're not good, brother. And many times, I will tell, listen, I got stories for days, but there was this young lieutenant that was put in as platoon leader, and I told commander, I was like, this, either you tell the battalion commander that he's not good, or I'll tell him, man. Because I'm not sure I'm not going to deploy to this character and put everybody's life in danger because he's a dumbass. It's simple as that. He's not a good leader. He can put him, I don't care where you put him, he cannot lead soldiers in combat. So I remember the colonel one time coming, man, and I knew my commander, having not talked to him. And he said, first time, what's going on? I said, this is it, brother. You're going to get it, you know? So I told him, and because that commander respected me, and I respected him, he understood where I was coming from, he told us, okay, no issues, man. You're going to be moved out. Now, that lieutenant forever, and to this date, he think I ruined his career. I tell you, Tori, I don't care, because I knew that saved lives, man, taking that kid out of the motion. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I ruined his career, got it, But lives of soldiers is way more important than one person's career.
Absolutely. I'm agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm agree.
Big time, brother.
Sometimes, I mean, people fail to recognize the limits. And that's, and I think pride get on the way.
Absolutely.
And that's what I talked on my last live, that pride, it takes logic out of you.
Yeah.
Because you don't look further than your nose. You know what I mean? You just like, oh, I'm full of pride and I do whatever I want to do, but you don't look the full aspect. You don't see at the big picture. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's kind of blind you to see further, and basically you look into yourself, be like, this is what I want to do, whatever, and kind of like it hinders you to become better.
Yeah, no, and again, like I said, there's many. So I do a lot of seminars with leadership with civilian companies, right? From here in Harker Heights and Killeen, and a lot of leadership talk, right? And off the jump, I fully understand that a approach like that would not work in the civilian world, right? Because it just doesn't work. But there is certain things, right, to hold people accountable, right? To if you got one person on the team that's not pulling their weight, right? And got it, man. I understand you got a family, understand you got everything, but you're gonna sacrifice an organization for one person, right? I cannot do that. In the case of leading soldiers in combat and the Army in general, you talk about lives, man. You talk about that. There's no way this character, God bless his heart, he wasn't able to do the basic stuff in the backyard here in Fort Hood, right? What made you believe that he's gonna go in combat and make them do the right call?
Right.
It's not gonna happen, man. You failed 20, and this is not only one thing. This is many issues, So I think that, brother, listen, man. I remember one kid, right? And when you're first sergeant or commander, they always, who's re-enlisting, who's not, or whatever. I was not playing that game because some people, me personally, do not deserve to re-enlist, right? Because they're not good for the Army. And I'll tell like it is. And I remember this character, he's like, he wasn't thinking about re-enlisting. And he said, first time, I'm not re-enlisting. I give that motherfucking high fives. That's what I'm talking about. I give him a high five. I said, that's good, brother. Because we don't need you. You don't need us. I said, you maybe become a multi-millionaire in the civilian world, but this Army is not for you, my man. So I remember the commander, hey, wait, we needed one more.
We needed the numbers, right?
Yeah, number. I'm like, no, man, this guy is not supposed to be in, man. That guy. So those approaches like that, right? I guess is the legacy that because when people remember me or whatnot, as a soldier, leader, whatnot, it's that just going down the pipe. You know what I'm saying? And there's many people that even got promoted, brother, that I told them, I say, they messed up, man. You shouldn't have got promoted. You're not ready, And some people, right, because you see for the majority, right, well, hey, congratulations, this, and the other. But I know you. I know what you're capable of, and I know you're not, you're not ready to be leading in that level, So I prefer not only to tell you that, but tell you what you need. Again, going back to what I said earlier, going back to tell you, okay, how is it that you can improve, man? Because now you promoted, the Army tell you good, you know what I'm saying? So now they're gonna put you in the spot,
right?
So what you need to do is X, Y, and Z in order to get you there. So a lot of people, as and humbly enough to think that people told me as a good mentor, a lot of people didn't agree with me in a lot of ways, man. It's a lot of ways.
It's always two sides of the coins. I mean, you cannot, you're not a $20 bill or $100 bill to to like everyone.
Absolutely.
And this is the way it is. I mean, you could like 100 people, but you don't like one. They don't like you for some reason. They feel some type of way about you. Your leadership style and whatnot. So I had that on my days too. I mean,
absolutely.
It's just like it's a name. It's the name of the game.
Yeah, nature of the business, man.
You cannot change that. But talking about your being speaker and being mentor in the civilian life, how you compare those? You told me it's different.
Yeah.
What is more difficult to mentor soldiers and peers or mentor civilians?
Civilians, right? Because there's one mentality, and at the end of the day, right, regardless of what the Army means, what the armed forces mean, if you just think about it, the only reason that we exist is to win the nation's war, right? Go to combat and dominate, right? Or be that bad that nobody want to mess around with you, right? That's the mentality you have, right? Regardless of your job, right? Sustain, logistic, combat, whatever the case may be. In the armed forces, the Army is there to one job. And that's why I think some people, don't understand quite because you have family first, this and the other. I got you, man. When you raise the right hand and you actually sworn in, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna make sure that you're ready to go to combat, right, and deploy. If you cannot deploy, you're not good for the army. Simple as that, in my opinion, right? So when you mentor that mentality, right, of listen, the only thing we train for, is to go to combat and dominate and come back to success, right, and bring everybody back as much as you can. When you mentor that mindset and that mission, is different approach when I'm talking to civilian corporation and talk about teamwork and building team, right? So when I talk to civilian companies, it's about that. It's about how to get the best out of people, right? How to find ways to operate in a level of using people's strengths and people's weakness to the benefit of the organization. That is harder because in the civilian world, is people don't get in the office environment, it's always somebody don't get along with people for whatever reason, right? It's always there. It's a friction or whatever, and sometimes it's a professional envy. They want to be there, whatnot.
Right.
But in this, so it's always there. So what I do is for those that are in the manager position and either at the lowest level or the corporate level is what is that you do and say, right, to build teams in order for the organization to see the benefit behind it. Because at the end of the day, right, and you're looking back in the teams that you had in the army, or at least in my case, I used to see the strengths on people, right, and I adjusted everything. I cannot put X person to do something that he's not good at. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that. Now I can mentor to get better in this area, but when it came down to doing a mission, whatever, it's time to execute. You know what I'm saying? So in the civilian world, it's a little harder because you talk about feelings, you talk about HR, you talk about lawsuits, you talk about all these other things that
Right.
in the army
Contracts and stuff
don't
like that.
exist, right, at all. So it's a little bit, but the I guess the baseline when it comes down there, I had a leadership forum for future leaders of America here in Harker Heights, and it's about you find people just graduating from high school, and you got people already in the corporate world, right? And you'll be amazed when you start talking about, teamwork and how you call it, teamwork. What does it take? How to talk to people, right? And everything else.
Talking about that.
No, and like I tell people, man, and there is a science behind this, man. There's a science behind it because I would say this: if you look at it this way and you tell people, I want this done. I want this one. When you tell somebody I want this done, it becomes my problem, my issue, right? And then the person that I just told this, he's gonna back and say, he want this done, right? And they go down there, and next you got the lowest guy trying to figure why I'm doing this because he wants it done. You know what I'm saying? If you start thinking about we need to get this done, right? Now you incorporate I bring you into this game, right? It's not me, it's us now, right?
Right.
And that little word right there, bro, is magical. It is magical because now I lay responsibility on us. And just because now you cannot go back and say, well, Torres wanted this done. Because you have to this is going to stick with you when Torres tells somebody we need to get this done for this, that, and the other, right? So when they translate to the next level, right, those people that are making it happen, right, and in the case of soldiers, the privates, or whatever the case may be, now they say, hey, we need to get this done, man. So now you take ownership of whatever it is that you're doing. And it works way better than you doing it just because this guy told you to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that is one of the things I incorporate in the civilian world and the mentorship talks is how you make it, regardless of your position, how you make it that everything that we do is for us, we.
Collective.
Than instead of you. You know what I'm saying? Because the reality is, right, and one thing I learned in the Army or leading and everything else, that some people, when they got to the senior level, they stop listening to people, right? Because they're sitting on that chair, right? They're in the position, and they believe that they were doing it is the only way of doing it. So people that got that approach, you missing. You're not mentoring, you're not developing people, right? Nothing like that. I took a whole different approach, man. I used to love, brother, to go down the gun line and talk to E4 and just pitch something that we're about to do as a battalion and get their earful, see what, want to see it. And the great thing about it is now you will learn and get some ideas, because some people got some crazy ideas regardless of, young they are or how long they've been in. But the great thing, the best thing out of that is that kid, right, that a sergeant just talked to in the motor pool about an event that we're about to take place, and he say something to me about an idea they have or a comment or whatever the case be, and I incorporate that. Bro, that guy right there, he's the one gonna spread the word, right, and say whatever he had to say or how he said to his peers, right? Say E4, whatever. Hey, I spoke to the sergeant major and we was talking about this, and he said he's gonna get it done. Now he sees it getting done. He's part of that. See what I'm saying? He had a important decision and part of what was done. You know what I'm saying? And that's what gains the I guess the powerful of you not being Mr. the shit, right? Just because you're a sergeant major, right? And that crazy. And so that was my approach, man. And I tell you, I humbly gonna say, man, that my battalions were great battalions because the commander and I had that approach all the time. You know what I'm saying? And I think, looking back and seeing the success of the battalion and the product came out of the battalion, it was not because the people that's sitting on top. You know what? That was not at all. It was because we empower everybody. Big difference, man. Big difference.
It is. It is a big difference when you're talking about we instead of like no the guy on top one of them.
Yeah.
We it's a big difference.
Absolutely.
And sometimes words like I learned that throughout my life that words carry meanings but also carry a purpose. And when you give that person a purpose of being like, hey, we all in the same boat together, we gotta do this together, that kind of bring more cohesive mentality instead of like I'm going to do it because he told me to do so.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. And you remember those days, right? You remember working with people like that. Man, I should remember, man. Yeah. It's never good memories at all, Not good memories at all.
I mean, when I was a private, man, I was told be like, Simon, you're coming down the line. They told us just to go away from the Simon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't know why I couldn't understand it. But me, after grew up and make run, I got to when I got to E7, and I'd be like, hey, they told me like, hey, now you have 50 soldiers or whatever. You got headquarters, a platoon, which is is the biggest platoon in the battery. I was like scratching my head like, how am I gonna deal with supply? How am I gonna deal with the motor pool? And it was a lot of stuff on my plate. And I got on the beginning overwhelmed a little bit because I just like I had a platoon of 20 and then I had all of a sudden I had a platoon of 50. So and I got involved with operations and stuff like that. But I learned to listen a lot. And me, I rely on them to do the job.
Absolutely.
And I had to learn like, hey, we gotta get this done. And gladly I had good platoon leaders, squad leaders. And a good lieutenant that helped me out a lot. So I know what you're saying about the words, and I got things done. Somehow I got it done.
Yeah.
But I got good squad leaders now. One of my squad leaders, two of them, one made sergeant major, and the other one got first sergeant.
That's good stuff.
And I talked to him the other day, be like, hey man, good job. You know what I mean? So. It feels good to see them progress.
No. Listen, I'll say this, man. The most humbling thing about being a mentor is watching people success from far.
Yeah, that's what I told him. Like,
because I don't
want you to grow.
I don't need no how you call it, like a tag on social media, so like thank you, whatever. But man, that deep on your heart, you was part of this soldiers, development or whatever. And then when they reach back and tell you it's greater, right? But I think that, when you look back and I seen all these soldiers that happen to be with me, and you see where they're right now, and you feel good for them, man. You good for them because it worked, right? Whatever is happening, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you are the only factor behind that, but you a factor. You know what I'm saying?
You cannot contribute somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some shape or way, form. You were there throughout their careers.
And I tell you what, I believe that good leadership, as good and bad leadership, is like DNA, man. It keep on going. Right? Keep on going. So if you have that bad side of being a leader that don't care, whatever, that sometimes hinder a lot of people development, right? Because they just sometimes learn that way, or just like I always say this: some of the officers in the Army that don't trust NCOs is because at the beginning of their career they had a poor NCO as a mentor, you know, and they keep on growing through the cranks, right? And next you know they're a battalion commander or whatever the case, and then you ask why they don't want to talk to a sergeant major, right? It's because they experience as a lieutenant or captain, whatever the case may be. So again, I believe that leadership is like DNA, and if it's good, you leave a little more, you leave a little more, and everybody adjusts, just like I did, just like you did. That you gravitated to certain people, learn to, you know, take the best out of people and create your own way. But there's little DNA sparkle in everything you do, right? So I get a good friend of mine that was my soldier, I consider a good friend of mine. And he told me all the time, I had to go Fuentes on somebody today. He used a Fuentes as a verb, you know? I had to use Fuentes on somebody, man. I laughed, right? Like, what happened, man? And so he telling me, yeah, I had to go Fuentes on somebody, man. That shit make me laugh because I'm like, what the hell you did?
That's the DNA you left behind.
That's the DNA, man. That's the DNA. You know,
that's funny. It happens.
No,
it happens a lot.
Man. But you know, it's and I think it's you and like you said earlier, right? When you was a private, and me too, man.
They just tell the privates, don't go away from the sergeant major.
So back
you know
in the
what I mean?
days, man,
Just
sergeant major coming, don't talk to them, whatever, you know, and you know, you just follow along, right? You like, okay, man, I guess you don't talk to these jackals. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I remember my first sergeant major, as you know, he was one of those guys that, you know, either saw you in the PX or saw you whatever and put you aside, you're in battalion and talk to you, and so it was approachable. And then I had those sergeant majors that straight up didn't talk to me, brother. I mean, I was like E6, I had a sergeant major, that joker didn't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then every time every time he opened his mouth was something negative. I never heard this character say something positive. I'm not gonna put his name out there, but this joker would have something. I had never heard him say something positive, which is the weirdest thing, right? Because that's the only thing I remember for. So once I made it, brother, humbly made it, right? I say, man, it's not about being liked. It's about being trusted. You know what I'm saying?
That's a big difference.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to be liked, man. I don't need to be liked. I just want to earn people's trust. You know what I'm saying? And respect. And I'm gonna earn it, you know, by my own means and show you. You know, just like combatants, right? When I used to do combatants, one of my sergeant majors say, you know, I was E8 already, you know, first sergeant. I used to roll to combat with soldiers, right? And he told me, you should not do that. And I'm like, why? What's going on? He said, wow, because, you know, the soldier will lose respect. You know. And I used to understand, man, I'd be fighting with soldiers. I carry boxing gloves on any deployment everywhere I went, right? So I was doing crazy things way before that. And I said, you're wrong, man. And I'll tell you why you're wrong. Because soldier will respect way more a first sergeant that's willing to go out there and maybe you tap him and maybe you win him, right? But it's there with you, getting dirty, getting bloodied, than it is a sergeant major or a first sergeant sitting behind the formation with their arms crossed, just looking training, right? So I'm a firm believer that, and I can tell you right now, I've been fighting soldiers since I was E6, right? Bring my gloves after work and fighting in the back box and all that craziness. I had never got disrespected by anyone. Never. Either by that guy that whooped my ass, right, in the back cages of a orderly room, right, or whooped my ass in the mass of combatants, or whooped my ass in a ring. Never got disrespected. So I told him, I said, nah, man. I believe that these guys respect me more because I'm there with them, man. And listen, that's my approach, right? Good or bad, you know, it's gonna be. In fact, in my last deployment, we used to have a tent, and you know, back in the days, there was no cell phones like that, but it was like nothing recorded here. Whatever happens here stays here.
Right.
So we came out there with bloody noses, black eyes.
Like the Thunderdome.
Let it be. You know what I'm saying? Let it be. And it was nothing about taking, you know, like, you know, fighting for whooping somebody's ass for leader for some type of because it was a bad soldier. Whatever. No, it's about, hey man, we gonna learn how to box. You know, I got the equipment, we got the mouthpieces. We're gonna get in here, and we're gonna make it happen, man. You know what I'm saying? So I was not afraid to fight anyone. You know, soldier, not soldier, lieutenant, officer, didn't make a difference. I fought anyone. And you may have a good day and maybe get me up, and maybe I got a good day and touch you up. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I believe that it made me. I gained a lot of respect of that approach compared to the typical person that stay behind formation with their hands crossed, just seeing everybody, do PT or do combatives and was not involved in. So that was my approach, man. It's just, hey, I tell you, I gained a lot of good things, and the unit was better because of it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Now that we're talking about mentorship, can you share with the audience and with me what are the best what is your best attributes as a person? We're gonna talk about as a person and as a soldier.
Yeah.
As a person, what were your best attributes?
If I was to look at me, right, I'm loyal, man. I am loyal. I will do anything for a person as long as they don't betray me. So loyalty starts at 100. It's up to the other person to bring it down. Loyalty is not, to me, I'm not going to build loyalty. I'm going to trust you, man. I'm going to trust you off the jump. It's on your hands to
keep it up there.
That, right?
Right.
And if you don't deplete that, brother, you can call me anytime of night, anywhere. I'll be there.
What about a soldier?
A soldier was a combination of things. I think soldier more was about, I didn't want nothing, and this has had to be a little bit of being a Fuentes, right? And being a soldier, right? I cannot tarnish, brother, the legacy of my name, right? Because my parents did too much to help me get here. So everything I did in life, brother, I cannot tarnish that. So when people know me as Fuentes, or Sammy Fuentes, First Son Fuentes, whatever the case may be, it's not about the position, it's about the legacy of me and my parents and everything else. So everything I did, man, I wanted to never ever look back, regardless of where it was, that my parents feel ashamed of whatever I did, right? So that led me to approach everything and try to do my best I could, and try to find a way to get the best out of people. So, you talk about the army values and all that craziness, right? The gimmick and stuff. But legit, man, I think that, I was a selfless leader, man. I wanted to help people. I wanted to make people better, because it was most satisfying for me to see people that you help achieve goals and either exceed expectations. That it was for me to get recognized. That's pretty much it.
It's more than legacy, and
it's a legacy,
and
right?
Keep the name clean and
absolutely.
pristine.
And there is a legacy there to be built, right? Because who are you, right? I tell people, some people that, I'm not sure if you had encountered this, but especially with sergeant majors, and I say it because I'm retired as one, and I know a shitload of them. When they retire, the only thing they get hang their hat on is because they were a sergeant major. And when you leave and you no longer have the position, right? They feel like they have nothing.
No
right?
purpose.
No purpose and everything else, right? To me, it was about me, about me representing myself and my family, right? That regardless that I know for a fact you cannot please everyone, right? It's impossible, right? But I know that, good or bad, I'm saying, how people view me, they know that I put some time into this thing, right? And that's what I told my son all the time. I told my daughter, I now introduce to my grandson, right? Is that what you carry is a legacy of your family. It's very important to me, very important, because my father struggled, and my father went, from a Puerto Rican, leaving Puerto Rico at an early age, to grinding in New York in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. The only thing I can do, man, is pay back, right? And don't bring a shame to the name, and to ensure that my kids, my son, my grandson, everybody goes along, my daughter, understand that it's a purpose of keeping that clean. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a legacy. It's very important to me. So it carries a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? It carries a lot, and that's why I think that, what they know you for has to be good in order for me to not tarnish that, man. That's legit.
No, that's good, man. It is great and sometimes people don't understand it.
No, I don't.
That they care about their position and they want to be known as a hard or whatever case may be. And once they leave that, it's just like they had a void within themselves, and sometimes they just like go out of work, and they think they're still wearing that hat even though they've been retired.
Listen, man, I gotta tell you, I seen it, brother. I seen it. At one time, I had soldiers in charge of the gates, the gates, and I get a phone call, and this person introduced himself as Sergeant Major. He said, "Hey, my name is Sergeant Major so and so. Are you Sergeant Major Fuentes?" I said, "Yes." I was told you're in charge of the gates. I said, "Yeah, what's going on, man?" He said, "No, I just let you know your soldiers did not greet me properly." I'm like, "Oh shit, man." I was like, what did they say, man? Because we had standing up, welcome to a great place or whatever, right? And he said they did not greet me as Sergeant Major. So I was like, "Oh shit, my apologies." I said, "What battalion are you in?" I said, "What battalion are you in?" He said, "No, I retired." So I said, "You are retired?" And he's like, "Yeah, I retired." I said, "How long you retired?" He said, 8 years ago. "And you calling me because one of my soldiers did not say Sergeant Major to you?" I said, "Brother," "let it go, man. Let it go, man. Let it go." And he said something. He's like, you won't understand till you retire." I said, "Nah, man. You obviously don't know me, right? Because that position I have right now, sitting in this position here, it had to do nothing who I am. You know what I'm saying, as a person." So it's a fact, brother, that a lot of people that retired miss that, right? I always make fun of, and sometimes people give me some heat, right? Because, a lot of people will recognize, like, retired Sergeant Major, that's cool, man. Dude, I want, it's just not me, right?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm
not me, man. Nothing against it. To me, I make fun. So people got some close friends, I make fun of them. But I don't want nothing, man. I like to be like undercover, man, incognito, man. You know what I'm saying? and brother, and it's funny all the time, right? Because I don't wear nothing that says, Army or retired or whatever. And so when you start listening to people, you're like, "Oh wow, okay, yeah, wow," you're like, "Wow,
great, yeah,
yeah." And so but you're absolutely right, man. A lot of people have that.
It's a void within them.
And it's understandable, right? It's understandable because when you do this so many years, man, it's just like I tell people nowadays, man, I like, it's a phase of life. It's a phase of life, like you do. Like I tell my friends, I have a good friend of mine that he always say, "I'll kick your ass." I said, "Listen, man, first of all, you almost 6 years old. Your time of kicking people's ass is gone already. You know what I'm saying?"
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? And you don't.
Your prime has gone.
And you was never the guy to kick nobody's ass. Period. You know what I'm saying?
To begin with.
Yeah. So now you at 6 years old talking about you kick somebody's ass.
Come on, man.
Unrealistic, man. I said I've been around combat sport all my life. At the age I'm in, brother, I ain't kicking no. I said we're gonna get dirty. You're gonna have some problems. Right. But listen, I don't go around thinking I'm gonna kick your ass, man. Mm-hmm. So, but again, I think they live on this mindset of this position, right? Because I tell you what, it can be if you think about it, man. If you when you're a Sergeant Major, brother, and you in and out, you come to a place, everybody stands up when you get there.
Yeah. You get that respect.
No, man. And so when that is gone, and that's the only thing you hang your hat on, brother, I can see that. I would tell people, when I go to that gate, and I don't go to a lot to Fort Hood or Fort Cavazos, whatever the case is, as long as you give my ID card back, brother, I don't care what you call me, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is what it is, man.
I feel the same way. I'm just the same way. I didn't get to that where your level was. I just made it easy and whatever.
Yeah.
But me, it's just like I don't wear non-retired shirt, non-retired hat. The only thing that people recognize I serve is because of my license plate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I need a DV plate so I can stay when I travel, I can leave the car in the airport for free.
Yeah, that's what I do, and and basically I don't hang my hat on like, "Oh, I was sergeant," whatever. No. It's like to my wife. It's like for me it was a regular job that I had.
Yeah.
Now I no longer hold.
Right.
Now I'm a civilian. I'm a free man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I did what I have to do to serve my country, and I proudly did it. But I'm just like,
it's the face of my life, man.
If people say like, "Are you proud of what you did?" Like, I mean, if I had the chance to be reborn, I would do it again.
Absolutely.
But was gone.
No, absolutely.
I mean, that was a years past. You know what I mean?
Man,
So
I'm with you. In fact, I was talking to all the senior officers and enlisted that retired from Cavazos. So every quarter I go talk to them, and that's the thing. I talk to them a lot. I like, listen, everything you wear in your chest, all those awards, all this craziness, don't mean absolutely nothing to a lot of people. And in today's job market, if you want to there and work at the workforce, most likely the guy you're gonna work for is 30 years old, maybe 25, right?
Yep.
That never served or they even think a server is good, right?
Yeah.
Don't So, and you're the old guy. I don't care, man. I don't care your experience. I don't care your education level. You are the old guy. So you better shake this off real quick, my man, because reality's gonna hit you so hard, man. You don't know what the hell hit you, So, believe me, it's a transition. Just like you said, I'm proud of what I did, man. I had fun doing it. I met some great people. Some of the friends that I met are closer than family. You know what I'm saying? But it's the phase of my life, man. And you know what? It's crazy, right? Because I knew so many people. I served so many years that you got people. Some people call me Smoke. Some people call me Top. Some call me Sergeant Major, right? So I, it's all different things, right? And I remember I was in the gym one time, and this guy that served me while I was platoon sergeant. So he said, "What's up, Smoke?" And this other guy tried to correct him. No, he's a sergeant major, and he's a Smoke to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he remember me back in the day, right?
As Smoke back then.
Yeah, Smoke. So I think that is, and again, I don't care. Just like other people, hey, what should I call you? I said, listen, man. I mean, because Fuentes, you know how it is, man. 31 years in the Army, man. Nobody call you by your first name. Suddenly people call you your first name. You're like, you're not even responding to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, what the hell? So I said, why you call me? I said, well, you don't need to call me Sergeant Major, brother, because that's not me. If you want to call it like, hey, listen, if it come out of your mouth, that's cool. But I'm not going to tell nobody, oh, no, I present myself. Hey, Sergeant Fuentes. You know what I'm saying? Man, that's past my life, brother. That's way past, man. I don't fit even the uniform.
Now, looking forward, you already served, and now looking forward to civilian life. I was reading your bio, and you became aide at the Secretary of the Army.
Right, yeah.
Tell me how you got into that position, because I mean it's not easy, or to be in that position. That's high up, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So the truth is, man, I have no idea. That position existed for many years, right? I have no clue where it was. So a good friend of mine used to be my platoon leader back in the days. Jim Bland. He is. We served together back in the mid '90s, and late '90s, that is. And he got out, and he is a successful, person in Chicago, and he became the civilian aide for Secretary of Army in Illinois. So Fort Hood had transitioning, right, and the Secretary of Army wanted to appoint someone here that knew Fort Hood, knew Central Texas. So he asked me, hey, Fuentes, what do you think, man? This and that. And again, I have no clue what this was all about. So the acronym is CASA, right? Civilian Aide to Secretary of the Army. And I had no clue what it was. But then he told me, hey, this is, it's just like the voice of the Secretary of the Army. You are the one that continue to have that bridge between community and armed forces.
Like
right?
that rapport between them.
Them and helping them in community matters, being the priorities of the Secretary of the Army, recruiting, welfare of the soldier, well-being, all that good stuff. So I saw it as an opportunity to continue to serve, man. And I always say this, man. The greatest thing that I found in getting promoted within the Army is that my platform got larger and more people have to hear you, even if they don't want to hear you, right? So, as a platoon sergeant, you got a platform, then first sergeant, you got a platform, then sergeant, you got a platform, and they become a garrison, you got a platform, right? So you get to talk to more people, and somehow you can still communicate the needs of the soldiers and families, right? So this job gave me the opportunity. That job gave me the opportunity to do that, right? To voice the soldiers' concern about housing, the soldiers' concern about barracks, the soldiers' concern about pay, the community environment with the city, the mayors of Killeen, Harker Heights, Copper's Cove, Gatesville, right? What they're doing for our soldiers, right? How we preventing, the crime to happening on these places that only our soldiers can afford, right? Why is the policing, all that craziness? So that was an opportunity for me to serve, man, and it was, I did it for 2.5 years, and it was like it was great to be able to be the voice of the soldier. the difference between who I was and who I am compared to most of them, a lot of, in my humble opinion, a lot of people that position is held for some people that trying to use it as a platform to something else.
Okay, yeah, I got it. It's
Yeah.
like using it as a catapult.
Exactly, yeah. And I have no business, no political ambitions or nothing like that. And my lenses were different. Most of the people that are casas are retired generals, are retired business people, judges. We got astronauts, we got NBA players, all kind of people, right? And depends on the format. At that time, Central Texas needed somebody because this was after the Vanessa Guillen stuff, So it was
yeah.
a lot of mistrust, you may call it, to the Fort Hood and Fort Cavazos and the community and everything else. So, I guess my marching orders was that, getting that gap together and bringing back. So I put a lot of effort into housing. I put a lot of housing into barracks. A lot of effort into the community partnership with City Killeen and Fort Cavazos, getting a better relationship between the command team of Fort Hood and the civilian community, and being the voice for this army. The Secretary of the Army, so whatever it is that you want to working with the 5th Recruiting Brigade here, recruiting stations and everything else to help them bridge that gap, right? Talking to schools, talking to principals, talking to counselors about the opportunity for us to be in again, help the Army get what it is, and help Fort Hood get off that stigma that happened to be after the Vanessa Guillen thing.
Right. So now talking about your scope, and you were telling me a lot of people you gotta talk to, a lot of agencies and stuff like that. How busy you were on the time frame of the 2.5 years? Because it seems like what you're telling me just briefly, it was a lot of terrain to cover.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of people. You had to,
Yeah.
be different with everyone. Had to get their attention and get them to work together. How difficult it was.
I think it was to me. It was not. The truth is, to me, it's not difficult to talk to people, right? So talking to people is not the issue. It's the issue to dealing with something that I never dealt with before, which is the political field, the aspect, right? As the lenses that I bring to the game as Command Sergeant Major, right? Pretty much enlisted, was about soldiering, right? So we talked to Congress or representative of the state, right, which we deal with a lot, in terms of budgeting and everything else. That main focus is that, right? So I always brought whatever conversation you're talking to a congressman or a senator or representative about what is that you're doing for the community of Fort Hood, right? To the Killeen, Harkin Heights, what are you doing, right? And how is it that's going to help the soldiers, right? From affordable housing, right, living outside the installation, to the housing budget, right, that the Department of Defense had to get all this housing back in barracks and everything else. So if you ask me how busy I was busy as I wanted to be, because I pick and choose what I wanted to do. Nobody was my boss or the Secretary of the Army. So my message to the Pentagon, I don't have to screen to I didn't have to screen to the 3-Corps commander or anyone, right? But what I did was I used the position, right, to bridge that gap and help either send a message, right, to the Secretary of the Army, the Pentagon, to what Fort Hood is doing great. Because again, going back to what I said earlier, we was trying to get Fort Hood back of this cloud of craziness that was happening, of all the incidents that was taking place. So, what is it that, somehow I needed to bring that back and show, hey, this is the great things, right? Because we're going to keep on talking about the craziness that's happening, we're not getting nowhere, right? So I'm going to show what Fort Hood is doing to the benefit of the soldier, right? So I spent a lot of time doing that, you know what I'm saying? And helping carry the message for some commanders about some incentives that they have, either as simple as soldier in processing, as complex as soldiers transitioning, as complex as mental health. Talking directly with the Darnell Community Hospital commander and the head of mental health services, what we doing, because I know how difficult that is, right? So I was really, really into that, and I did it for 2.5 years. I think that it came to my life now that I start shifting, the priorities, right? And I start looking about, what I need to do for myself and my family, you know what I'm saying? And I think, humbly enough, I think I did a lot for this country, right? So now it's time to sit back, and help do whatever I want to do, whatever I want to do it. Because the reality is when you're in that position like that, you have to be careful what you say and how you say it, right?
Definitely.
You know, because at the end of the day, I'm representing Secretary of the Army, right? So you have to be careful, and because you not want to disrespect, nor you want to say the wrong thing and send the wrong message. So I'm fully aware of that. But more importantly is that, now I'm in the place that, I prefer to, put more emphasis of coaching my grandson's little league team than do anything else. You know what I'm saying? So it's priority, man. I had a good time, but it's in the political field that, and it's something that, not that I say I dislike, but I don't want to be involved in.
Right. I mean, it's sometimes you don't see it as much like on TV, but there is an underbelly.
Oh, absolutely.
And when
absolutely,
I hear a lot of people saying that it's like, man, once you get into that field, you will see the underbelly, and that's a whole different ball game.
Torres, if I tell you that once I got in that position, if I encounter any political person, it's always the question of why you don't do X, why you don't do Y, why you don't run for city council, why you don't do this, right? So it's always that approach, and that was far between what I want to do in life in that position. My position is, again, showing that we are doing great things in Fort Hood and housing and helping the guy from the DPW, showed what he needs, right? Because like you say, position matter when it comes down to actually giving a message out, right? It's if you are talking about something and the message is not getting through, and I can carry that message to Director Secretary of the Army without no red tape, you know what I'm saying? That's powerful, right? So I was in that position. I was in that position. So again, humbly, right? I'm a kid from Brooklyn, joined the Army, and suddenly I'm here sitting with congressmen and senators and commanders of all sorts. But it was great, man. It was great, but nothing. It just I didn't want to do it no more. Simple as that. Nothing that it just and again I saw the political aspect and the balance of being the other being.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool. Then again, I know myself, right? And you catch me on the wrong day, and I'll say something that may hurt somebody's feelings, and I don't want to put the armed forces and I got too much respect for the Secretary of the Army for doing anything like that. So again, right now I enjoy. If it have a conference and I have a little league game, I'm going to a little league game, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I approach it.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's kind of like people think that sphere is not, I would not say toxic, but it's very challenging to navigate.
Absolutely.
The political sphere and trying to send a message and also show the results.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you talk a lot, whatever and whatnot, but if you're not bringing the results to it, people are gonna see it through it. I mean, and they're gonna put that label on you, like, okay, you talk all that, but you didn't show anything. And I see, and I didn't understand that when I was younger, but now that I'm looking at the TV, looking what's going on, and I'm like, something is not right. I mean, sometimes you cannot pinpoint what it is, but you're feeling like, man, the message is getting there.
Yeah.
But the results are showing otherwise, and it's a hard line to walk into.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, and I believe that the political field is you walk in a minefield sometimes, So
you want tippy toes. You like
tippy toe, man, and then it's different aspect. I learned a lot, right, from the political aspect of things. But it's just something that I just want to get involved in, man. And again, this peace of mind, and they start asking you opinions, and things can be misread, right, or misunderstood.
Sometimes intentionally.
Absolutely, for their own gain or whatever the case would be. So, but it was good, man. It was good for 2.5 years that I did it, and I believe that I was able to help in a lot of things. But when I resigned, was more about, I want to do something different. There's nothing that something happened that made me say I don't want to do it no more. No, it was just more about, hey man, like I said, that the truth is that they have like this conference that you need to go to, man, and I'm like, I cannot go to the conference, man. I got Little League games going on, brother. You know what I'm saying? So my priorities changed. You know what I'm saying? And to me, is at this point in my life, it's more important about creating memories. You know what I'm saying? That it is to satisfy other needs, man. So
Right.
That's bring it is. And I always been like that, man. I think that I did it my way, man. Like Frank Sinatra said, right? I remember, like we were spoken earlier about the video PTSD, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember people telling me, you should not do that. You should not say that, right? Because the stigma, right, of a certain man coming forward, talking about PTSD and struggles and everything else. And I'm like, first of all, like the saying goes, there's no E10, right? I'm E9. So nobody gonna promote to E10, right? So it doesn't make a difference, right? So that's number one. Number two is that I said, this is the problem, right? The problem is that, the stigma behind mental health in the armed forces and not talking about it, it do more harm than anything else, right? And I've been there, right? I've been there because I was the guy with mental issues. I was the guy struggling with everything. And you on these meetings and people talking about the broke person, right? He's broke. Right? I know you've been in the meetings before. He's broke, right?
Yeah.
And one day I stopped him, man. I'm like, shit, you talking about me, man. See, you talking about me. When you say you broke because X, Y, and Z, you talk about me. I'm the one with the tumor in my leg. I'm the one with torn meniscus. I'm the one with the mental health problems. You talk about me. So when I made the decision to that video, man, a lot of people told me not to do it because the stigma of a sergeant major saying they have issues and and they're looking for a help, whatnot. And I didn't care at all. To me, it was way more satisfying knowing that the aftermath after the video came out, the people, hundreds of people hitting me up that have no clue who they were, emailing me saying thank you. You know what I'm saying? Brother, that's more satisfying than anything you can think of, right? Because it's easy for people that know you, right, to say, man, you're Edgar Fuentes, you're doing great things, whatnot. But a total stranger that have no clue the hell you are, man, and to take time to write you freaking 2 pages of email, think about where he was, and the video made him seek help, and it's better off for that, and all these dark things, and you helping. It was way better than anything negative that came out of that video in terms of my career. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes for people are easy just to point out the negative than give you props for what you're doing. And in this, for me, in this platform that I'm trying to build this platform just to show not the blue and gloom.
Yeah.
I'm trying to show whatever your circumstances, whatever happened, it's always a bright side of it. You know what I mean? So you always can come up on top, but it's up to you. And sharing your stories and other people's stories kind of bring light to people and different perspective. And so they can make it too despite whatever situation they're going through. And that's what I'm trying to bring. My wife told me that I had to keep going.
Right.
My wife told me that there is no stop now. You already bought the equipment.
Yeah, you committed. You
I'm already committed.
Yeah.
So might as well just keep going. And for some reason, everyone that I talk to have a connection with God.
Right.
And sometimes I'm driving an hour to whatever interview that I'm about to conduct, and I talk to God a lot on my way to whatever I'm going, because that's my him and me time.
Right.
You know what I mean? At the house, we got the family. I get distracted, whatever. But in the car, it's just he and I. And I ask him most of the time, like, what you want me to do? What you really want me to show me? Tell me.
Yeah, show me, give me a sign.
Yeah. And sometimes he just tell me, like, keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. And I'm glad that I'm here because it helps me to kind of heal myself.
Right.
But also show the path to somebody else. Show that you can come up. or whatever foxhole you in, and if you are knee deep in whatever quicksand, you can come out of it. You know what I mean? It's always a helping hand somewhere.
Yes, it is.
And it kind of bring all circle, like God. It's everywhere. But sometimes you have to look up.
Absolutely.
You know, some people get blindsided by pride or self ambition,
Right.
and they don't see the helping hand. And I was talking to Jack Parker, one of my past episode, and he was talking to me about warning signs. You know what I mean? Like if you are in the quick and fast river, and somebody asks you, "Hey, you need help," and you say, "No, I'm good," but you going down the river 50 miles an hour, there is rocks, there is wood, and you just bouncing off and getting hurt along the way, and it's people always trying to help you out, and it is up to you to reach out for that hand and grab that hand and get you out of the river before you drown. And it kind of like helped me a lot to understand my position and other people's position. Like whatever your situation is, you can come out of it, but you have to seek help.
Yes, indeed.
And that's a big. I think God gave me that opportunity and this platform. And people who know me, I'm very introvert. Like I told you, I'm very introvert person, very private, and put my face out there and trying to bring a message.
No, it's hard, man.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard. And I learned through probably 15 episodes of this podcast, kind of like helped me to build and become better and working with everything, and also working on my communication skills.
Right.
Because sometimes I'm very timid and I'm like, I got a lot in my mind.
Yeah, but you have to let it go.
You have to let it go somehow. So now I'm learning how to do it, and I kind of feel pride. I see my struggles is less, and now I feel like I'm pretty good becoming a communicator, which is not easy on this space. You know, it's a lot of great communicators out there. You know what I mean? You got Robbins, and you got
big though.
You know, Joe Rogan. They can communicate and can make it seamless. But for me, just like, man, I'm struggle. But kind of like it teach me something else. You know, it teach me to listen to people.
Yeah. I think the problem is that a lot of us see the champion, right? You see the champion. You see the success. You see the multimillionaire. But you don't take time to figure out how he got there, right? So the Joe Rogans and all these people that are high level, you know, podcasters or whatever, go back and see his first video.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even Joe Rogan is a person that had already established person, right, in the industry, from the show he used to do to be in commentary UFC, right? So he brings a fan base already. And if you look at first podcast, you know, it's learning progress to where he is today. So I think compare ourselves to somebody extremely successful is not fair.
No,
it's not fair, right? And it's either struggling. And I think having, you know, God and everything is it settles you down, right? I'm a firm believer, man. I've been in some dark places in my life, right? But I always found a way to go back and thank God for the things that I have, right? For the struggles, for the good, the bad, the ugly, because that made me who I am, you know. And there's no perfection. I believe that perfection will never be achieved, right? And this is my personal opinion. I don't think, you know how people say practice make perfection. Well, practice will make you better.
Right. I think the same way.
Better, right? Perfection is I don't think it's achievable, right? Because perfect to who, right? So, but I think that, you know, what made me, I guess, decent at what I did in life was that I was not afraid to humble myself. You know what I'm saying? And to understand that. And it takes a lot sometimes, right, to humble yourself, because you are a certain level. I mean, you know, even the struggle with PTSD, right? You know, I tell people that, you know, what the hardest struggle with that was, right? That you stop doing things that get you the help, and seeking help and taking help away because you think you can deal with it. And then other things that you don't see what's happening, right? And I always tell people this, right? At one point in time, I was a good soldier, man. If I look out from that, I was a good soldier. But at the same time, I was not a good father. I was not a good husband. great soldier, outstanding soldier in some hats, right? Papers will show that was maybe one of the best at one time, right? But at the same time, I was not a good soldier. I mean, a good father and a good husband. So that is the struggle of not wanting help, right? And not humbling yourself to seek help. And it's still a work in progress, right? Because again, perfection is not there. But I think more important than anything is that I learned to talk about it, not be ashamed or embarrassed about it. And like I told my son, my daughter once in a while, I said, sometimes your knees have to hit this ground, man, and pause, right? And even when the darkest of time and the most struggling time, there's something happening, man. There's something good happening. So yeah, believe me, I fully understand your point of view, man. I really do.
Yeah. Nowadays, now that we're talking about PTSD and seeking help, suicide on the veterans and former military is skyrocketing.
Absolutely, yeah.
It is probably triple in the last 5 years, and I'm trying to figure out why. And I guess it's it's stigmatized seeking help.
Yeah.
It became a big part of what's going on right now.
Absolutely. I believe that the armed forces, right, and this is going back to Vietnam and World War II days, the armed forces in general do a great job getting you ready to combat. What they don't do is a good job getting you off combat, right? So there's many, like I told people, if you remember, every time you came back from deployment, you went to the reverse SRP, I guess they used to call it, right? And it's hundreds of people, right, going through a system, by flight, right? 400 people going this day, this day, this day. And you expect a mass movement of people. Now you expect the soldier to talk and open up, right? He's just trying to check. You're trying to get that day over.
Check the box and move out, yeah.
So that approach, total failure because nobody, the peer pressure is something big. And even if you start thinking you got problems, man, I believe that when you went into the system of cattle, right, of everybody in there, you just give me the stamp, I'm out, regardless of how bad it is. So I think now you fast forward, right, after the combats and many deployments and people struggling with things that they saw, friends they lost, family issues, adjustment issues, because I believe that sometimes, and personally speaking, the most damaging thing that PTSD had in myself was emotionally disconnect from those that love you, right? That itself is hard because you don't see that, right? Because you're living the life, right? You are the one staying at work a little longer, getting there earlier, right? And that disconnect with those that love you is breaking apart, right? And nobody sees that because you are so involved in the work. Fast forward now, right? Years of combat deployment, training for deployment, loss of life, failed marriages, failed relationships, family struggle. Nobody helped you, man. Nobody helped you, and the system was there to help. The system was there. It was just not the right system, So I think the Army recognized that it's now helping better soldiers get ready, like a baseline where you at to where you go to combat and come back and help you out, than it is from when you and I came about. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look back in history, from World War II and Vietnam, it was, it was just like, deal with it, you know what I'm saying? And nobody understood it, you know what I'm saying? Nobody understood it, and then it come down to the stigma, right? If you start talking about having issues, you are weak. And top of that, it came to a point at one time that even if you have some kind of clearance, would be jeopardized if you was seeking mental help.
Definitely, yeah.
So you see all these things that was not working against you. So all those that, listen, I got 3 friends that committed suicide. Yeah, but I tell you, one that was a good friend of mine, he retired, we did a couple combats together, and I know he was into some stuff. I seen some stuff. Got retired, worked Walmart. I used to see him once in a while. And then he took his life, right? And then you look back, and as good as I knew him, I didn't see no signs, man. You know what I'm saying? That you don't see no distress. I never saw it. So a lot of people show some, right, that you can easily identify, but in case my friend Crawford, he didn't. I didn't see it, man. what I'm saying? So I think the system was there. It was just not in the right place. Not in the right place.
Yeah, I feel like the environment, it give you the tools to hide your flaws.
Absolutely, 100%.
The environment, it will give you the enough tools to masquerade
Yeah.
what's going on, behind closed doors.
Yes, indeed.
And it hurts because it hurts me. I mean, it hurts me some way or another because I feel you like you're saying, like your work and your family, you disconnect further and further until it's a rupture.
Absolutely.
And you divorce and whatnot. And I have my fair share of divorce. So I know where you're coming from and I understand that. Now, I'm going to ask you that. How long you been married?
I've been married, man. Let me mess this up, man. 32. 32 years.
All right, 32 years. So can you give me your keys of success for a to hold a marriage for that long? Because it gotta be some, you gotta share the secret sauce.
Yeah, no. So first of all, marriage is not easy, right? And of course, you said you've been divorced a couple times, but nothing is pink and beautiful. Marriage is a struggle. Marriage is learning. Marriage is adapting. I am blessed to have the wife I have, right? Because all the deployments, reaching where I reached in my career, having great kids with great jobs, grandkids. There's only one reason. The only reason that I was successful because my wife held everything together, right? So I look back. There's many ways, and there's many times I can easily throw a flag. Many times, right? In both ways. I think both of us, will maybe say that. The only thing I can say is that to me, respect and loyalty is more powerful than love. So there's no way I was jeopardizing what my wife done for my family. So I did anything and everything to keep this going. Bad times, good times, laughing, crying, sleeping on the couch, sleeping in the next bedroom, right?
All right.
Right? But one thing I did is I owed too much to her, so that will keep me going. You know what I'm saying? And knowing that, I remember I was told to my friend because I confided in him, and he like, it's hard, brother. You can easily quitting is easy.
Right.
Quitting is easy, right? And don't get me wrong, no disrespect for those that divorce, whatever, because everybody's different, right? Everybody's level is different. But I think it's more about the commitment and loyalty that I have for my wife. That not knowing what's happening tomorrow, but right now I believe that I owe too much for her because some people see and they see you and the level of success you have in life or whatever, and automatically they think Fuentes is the one holding shit down.
Right.
That's far from the truth, brother. That's far from the truth, man. It is, and it's again not been easy. Not been easy. That's why I tell people, right? Those that, especially in today's era of social media, right, that everybody paints a beautiful thing with family and loved ones, and I always say this, man. If I went to one of your weddings and you get divorced, I'm not going to the second one, man. I'm going to be part of your madness, But in today's life, that everybody's on social media pretending to be and lovely. Look at what he got me. Look at my ring. Look at the car. Look what I'm dining at. Look at this, that, and the other, right? That's easy, brother. That's easy. That is easy, man. That's a moment in time, When it's hard is when it's hard. When emotions are involved and everything else, and you got decisions to make. Are you gonna stick to this, right, and grind it out, or you're just gonna call it quits, right? Because many people, I remember, my friend, God bless him, he was that thing from the outside in. He's like, these guys are the perfect couple. Perfect couple. You know how you go family gatherings with friends or whatever. And I was just like, man, how the hell this dude right here is the happiest dude ever, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm here mad at the wife, or the wife mad at me, whatever, right? And I'm like, how the hell? Then you fast forward, right? Years now, he was cheating on her. He got 2 kids over there. She was cheating on him. You know, so it's una máscara. You know what I'm saying?
It's a facade,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a facade, man. So that is more that I see now. You know, than it is to struggle. You know what I'm saying? To struggle. You know, it's like filters now, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Forget about it, right? Listen, man. I would sell this. This is a true story, man. My daughter has wanted to sell something on Facebook Market,
Right.
and she was here, and the lady was here from Clean, and so she sent the, hey, this is me. So I'll take the picture, brother. Hey, right. So I said, we're gonna meet, you know, in this school, so I can give you this. And when the lady came out of the car, I don't know who the hell she is. See, that should not the one in the picture. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, but she got the stuff, she paid me and whatnot. And I remember texting my daughter saying, they said, we sold it. I'm not sure we sold it to the right person because that should not the one in the picture, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not in the picture. But so that is life right now. So, but going back to, in terms of marriage, the secret sauce, it's just commitment, man. You know what I'm saying?
Commitment.
It's commitment, willing to grind, right? And you know, people change, man. If people change.
It's
you know
part
what
of
I'm
life.
saying? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
part of life, you know, and priorities come different, regardless if you love the person or not, priorities come different. And you have to adjust accordingly, and you have to give some to get some, right? Or you have to adjust and be flexible to understand that. But, you know, I was blessed with a great woman, you know what I'm saying, that is, you know, God is high level, strong person, strong mentality, you know what I'm saying, that kept me where I'm at, you know what I'm saying, but it's by no means it's easy, you know what I'm saying, because if you're married to Puerto Rican, so you know, hot, heavy, crazy Puerto Rican, that's what you got, you know what I'm saying, and,
Yeah.
and that comes with a lot of love and a lot of fire, you know, so it's a balancing act, man, it's a balancing act. So it's nothing. It's easy for me to say, oh, because we love each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's BS, right? And it's love, and you know this and that and the other. I see the spark on the eye, all that bullshit. That's all wrong. It's about committing. It's about knowing that, you know, you're growing old, that we got grandkids, and we still, you know, one purpose, like we still stay in shape to be healthy enough. We be the family. You know what I'm saying? So that is what it makes this happen. You know what I'm saying? But it's nothing. It's not a fantasy. You know what I'm saying? It's not a book of romance. And don't get me wrong, it's there, right? But the reality is, like I told you earlier, man, loyalty, commitment carries way more than love, in my opinion.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good advice that people that, you know, starting young, either having their family. So it is good to have the loyalty. Loyalty is a big thing though.
Absolutely, man.
Because the loyalty bring trust, bring
Yes.
empathy, bring a lot of stuff together in one word that people can relate
Absolutely.
and fall into. I mean, it's a big thing. Now, my wife now is just, she is basically the backbone
Right.
of the house. You know what I mean? She's the one that, I think she's tougher than me
Right.
in some aspects.
Yeah.
And I'm relying on her. Like, her opinion to me, sometimes I don't like it.
Yeah.
But when I'm like away from her, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, shit, she's
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
She's right.
Yeah.
And sometimes I come back like, baby, I know you're right.
Yeah.
So and I take that to heart, and I hope people that seeing this video right now can appreciate their partners.
No, absolutely,
and also be conscious of what they're feeling, and don't be afraid of talk to somebody about, you know, what's going on in their life, because sometimes we have to vent.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sometimes.
I think every I don't know. And again, every relationship is able to save himself. But trust is number one. You know what I'm saying? Respect, right? It's a lot there. Because and then if you start jeopardizing respect, and you know, things are gonna go bad.
It's like a Jenga. You know what I mean? You take the respect, you take that little block out, everything will fall.
Absolutely. So, but I think there's no magic form, man, because you know I don't know. I just believe that it's work in progress, right? It's work in progress, and it's always relearning, resetting. Sometimes you have to, you know, reset completely, right? And I'm still learning, brother. Like I said, I tell you earlier, man, I was a better soldier, leader than I ever was a husband or a father, right? So now in my retirement life, I try to build on that, and still learning, but going back to God, I believe that, you know, he put her in my path of life for the reason of that I'm here today, you know. And regardless of the struggles that we may have and will have in the future, I believe that into there's nothing other than loss of respect, right? And loyalty can actually stop this, you know. So, but it's not about the, you know, we're getting old, right? You know,
Right. Every day,
you know what I'm saying? And like, in fact, we was watching some video of this 80-year-old dude going out with a 24-year-old. Of course, he's a millionaire, right? So he got a 24-year girlfriend. I would say love is beautiful, ain't it? You know, love is
Right.
beautiful. So it is what it is, man. But it's good to know that, you know, sometimes, and don't get me wrong, man. Sometimes this it's like the army, right? It's not for everyone, man. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And some things are not for everyone, and sometimes, you know, you select a partner that maybe did not jive from the beginning, and took you some years to figure out that, hey, maybe not me or not us, you know. And for the benefit of both of us, it's time to go. But definitely, I think, you know, I look at my parents, right? You know, they've been married for freaking over 60 years or whatnot, and I know for a fact they struggle, man. You know what I'm saying? It's unrealistic to think that they didn't struggle, but they grinded. You know what I'm saying? They grinding, and they 80 plus years old, they're still together. You know, so it is what it is. But again, I think it's a successful marriage or marriage that are still in there. It's a lot of commitments, a lot of work, there's a lot of things, and sometimes you have to humble yourself, and sometimes you have to learn to, you know, understand some people's opinions that maybe you don't like. You know? So
Absolutely.
It's a struggle, man. Yeah.
It's always to learn. For closings, do you have any final words for the audience?
I say this, man, for those that see this and trying to gain some, I guess, some knowledge or some type of mentorship or whatever it should be, I say this, like, you know, be yourself, do what is best for you, right? Understand that the more you climb in success, the more eyes you're gonna have on you. That if you treat people right and you respect people, you can go years without seeing somebody, and when they see you, it's like you saw me yesterday. That's only achieved by being yourself and not being somebody that somebody else wanted to be. And the understanding, man, is bright things out there, brother. You know, as dark as the day may be, something out there that's worth staying alive, and that because you're struggling don't mean there's total failure in life, right? Failure sometimes show you how to become better, and even when perfection will never be achieved, failure will make you a better person in whatever you do in life, man.
I appreciate that.
That's me, brother.
All right, thank you so much, and
man.
I kind of really want to keep talking about, but we're gonna be here for 6 hours if we just keep talking.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hey, for those who are watching, I appreciate you guys came in. Please like and subscribe. If you got something out of this video, don't forget to comment down below, and keep following me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and also Spotify. All right, like and subscribe. Take care. God bless you, and I'll see you on the other one. Bye-bye.
Stop, man. Gracias, papá.
Ay, gracias a ti.